welcome from Guadalajara, Mexico to this episode of Crossing Borders with Nathan Lustig. Nathan's guest today is Laura Martínez, a startup analyst at Magma Partners. In this episode, Nathan and Laura talk about Magma's investment process, what they take into account to make an investment, and a few pieces of advice to fill the Magma Memo. We hope you enjoy this conversation with Laura Martínez.
Hey Laura, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being willing to do it.
Great. Hey Nate, thank you for inviting me.
So after working together for about 7 months of not seeing each other just on Zoom, we met up at the Magma Summit in Medellín, and now where are we today?
Today we are in Guadalajara, Mexico. Happy to be here.
Getting to see you for a second time in a month, it's great. What do you do at Magma?
Well, I joined Magma last year in August as an investment analyst in the investment team. So basically what I do is I am kind of the first filter to all our investments. So I see all the, many of the inbounds we get, some of the referrals we also get. And I am also involved in that recurrent process we have with some of our portfolio companies.
And tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get interested in startups and how did you end up working with Magma?
Yeah, sure. So before joining Magma, I used to work at Mastercard. I worked there for 2 years. And basically my last role was launching an accelerator back in Colombia. I'm from Colombia. And from there I started to basically fall in love with this industry, getting to research every day more. And there I founded this great opportunity at Magma. And I think it was a great fit also with the team. And I decided to join this side of the investment part of the ecosystem. I'm very happy, right now.
So making the jump from traditional corporate into investing or the startup world, what were some of the biggest changes from going from the more traditional path to more kind of startup world path?
So I think it's great having both of the two worlds, the corporate one where everything is mostly written and stated and following the path of people like really good in the industry that are role models. I think that is great, but also from the startup side, getting to create new things with the team, iterate different ideas to make them real in, I don't know, you made me a proposal to do something in Bogota, 4 weeks ago, and now we're getting it done this week. So having these shortened feedback loops, it's something it's something nice to learn.
So you said that you sort of fell in love with the startup ecosystem. What was that process like? Did you always know you wanted to be in startups, or was it something that you just kind of discovered along the way? Or what happened?
Yeah, it wasn't from the start. Actually, at the beginning, I had this idea that is true that mainly 80% or 70% of the startups in the world just fail. And I was like, why on earth I'm gonna get into an industry that's failure driven, kind of. I thought that way. But now seeing the whole potential we have mainly here in Latin America where we are based, just made me think that if I could give something of what I know, that it's very little right now, but of what I've learned, I will just want to do it and help also to develop even more the ecosystem, because I think there's, just like I said, huge potential and also amazing opportunities in underdeveloped countries that can be solved with technology. I think that is something that made me wonder and question myself that why shouldn't I take the opportunity to be in this ecosystem and in this industry
So for a lot of founders that come talk to us to raise money, you're their first contact. Talk us through a little bit the kind of different steps that we have to getting towards an investment and what that looks like from your side.
Yeah, sure. So we have actually different channels. One of the biggest ones is the inbounds we get through completing our Magma memo we have at our webpage, where basically we have a pretty good sense or first deep sense on what the startup is doing, what are they trying to solve in the industry. From there, we have like some check boxes we always look at, and we can make some questions, or if it's a rejection or a no for X or Y reason, we always give feedback and we always respond to every single memo we get. But we can get some make some questions, and after that, if we decide to get into a first call, even for different reasons, it could be founders' background, or the problem has like a big affinity with what we do at Magma or with our investment thesis. We get into a call. It can be a 30-minute call with me or one of the other analysts at Magma. And from there, we keep the process. So I think the process is kind of short in comparison with maybe other funds. We try to move quickly, also for the stages we focus on. But yeah.
So for us, we have the Magma Memo, which is basically an online form where you can tell us about your business and give us basically enough information to get up to speed to know if this is something that makes sense for both you and for us to spend time digging in farther. When we don't dig in farther at the beginning, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad business. It just might mean that it's not the right stage, or we've already invested money into that sector and we don't want to deploy more there, or maybe it's just not the right fit at the right time. But we ask founders to create that so that basically we can use their time the best and they can use our time the best. Definitely. And after the Magma Memo, basically the way it works internally is that you and some of the other analysts will receive their information and then you'll start a review. So when founders are filling out that Magma Memo, which is, we'll link in the show notes, what are some of the things that they should do when they're writing the Magma Memo, and maybe some things that they shouldn't do?
I think they need to try to be as specific as they can with their business model, because sometimes we get confused on different types of business models. So that's one. Try to be as direct as they can, because we ask mainly for the story of the founding team and how they met. But sometimes we get, I don't know, like big paragraphs that give you a sense that basically that founder or the person that's completing the memo is not as direct as we would like to, and therefore maybe a first call with that person will be, I don't know, I don't want to say painful, but it will be longer than we would like to. So being direct, having clear also your numbers, being clear with your numbers, and with your currencies. We also get a lot of numbers without even a currency, or try to standardize your numbers. I suggest using dollars also for Latin America.
And so once we've gotten a Magma Memo and you or another analyst is starting to review, there's kind of three possibilities, right? There can be, no, this isn't a fit for us, with some feedback. There could be additional questions on email, or there could be, hey, let's do a call. So talk us through what a first call looks like. What are kind of the overview questions you're looking for? What are you trying to get to out of that first, say, 30-minute meeting?
Yeah, so first we always like to start like hearing about the founding team story, how they met, or if it is a solo founder, why is he or she doing this rather than any other thing, and why are they gonna basically win in this space. So we try to figure out if there is that founder market fit at the start. Then we dig in a little bit on traction, on what they have right now, if it's a pre-revenue company, how is tech developments going, what they have right now, what is the target market. We also see to this, try to focus also in the total addressable market to see how big can it be and how can it grow in the future, in a near future. And besides that quantitative side, we also look at the qualitative part, where we basically see if we have that affinity, or the founder or the business adjusts to our investment thesis, and it is a team or someone we want to work with in the near future.
Yeah, so in that first meeting, where I think, to summarize part of it, it's like three big things. It's tell us your story because we want to get to know you, and like the motivation of why you're doing this. And some good examples of that. We just invested in a company called BitMEC, which is improving healthcare for people in Central America. And the founder has founder market fit because he had a health problem and said, look, if I was able to pay for really good healthcare, imagine what it's like for everyone else. And I want to fix this for other people so that people don't have basically no healthcare. That's a founder who's going to be founder market fit and mission driven. Another good example of that would be the guys from Kushki. Actually, all four founders from Kushki, where they'd been in the payments business. Two of them had sold a business in payments in the US before. The other two had deep operational experience in payments in Latin America. They were the best team possible to be able to execute against that problem. So we really want to hear your story and understand, like, what's the motivation. And what we really want to avoid is what we call internally, and we don't mean this in a bad way, but like tourist founders who hear, okay, this niche is hot, I've got a good background, I'm going to go execute in here. Because what we think, and maybe we're wrong, but what we think is that generally, as soon as it gets hard, they may want to jump to the next thing, or they're not going to be as motivated as somebody who really, really has that deep founder market fit. Another great example of founder market fit is Maribel from Círculo de Belleza, and we'll link her podcast in the show notes, but she'd been working in the beauty industry for 10 years before starting this business, knows the ins and outs of it, and you can say, yeah, this is the best possible person to start this business. The next one that we're looking for is really understanding the market and how it works and the market size. So, you could be the best founder in the world, but if you're trying to sell something that just the market is too tiny or it's not growing at all, it's probably going to be really hard. And then the third is really understanding the metrics of your company and why you'll win. And with those three things in that first meeting, that gets us to decide where you'll basically say, yes, we should invest a small ticket. No, this isn't a fit. Or, hey, you should talk to either Alexa, who's our senior analyst, or me, or Pedro, who's one of the partners. So what does it look like when this is like an obvious company that you think, hey, this is really good, I'm excited about it. What happens next?
As soon as we identify those type of companies, we try to move really fast, following the next step, as you just mentioned, scheduling a next call. It can be with either with Alexa, with you, or with Pedro, to try, to move fast, don't miss the deal, basically, and show also to the founders and to the team we want to do it, and we can help in different ways.
And so once we do invest, talk a little bit about the processes you're involved in once the money's in the bank and we're actually working together with the teams.
Yeah, so first we start with our Magma memo from our side on the companies, where we describe basically, I don't know, like 10 main points. Yeah, just like focusing on this deep analysis of the company. We also have our investment committee with our investors, where we present and vote for these different decisions we are trying to make, basically. And afterwards, we try to settle. I mean, we are in the road of defining the best onboarding. We already have some of it, that is having your deck and your story bulletproof, even though they are not fundraising, or the founders aren't looking for funds right now. But we've seen that basically this exercise of doing it, practicing it, will get them to a really high point when they go out to fundraise. So yeah, that's like part of the onboarding. We also try to get recurrent meetings with our founders. It can be, I don't know, monthly if they want, bi-weekly even, or quarterly, every 6 months, however they want. But we want to just like keep in touch with them. Also, we tell our founders, our portfolio founders, that we are there for them to use us, basically. So we work with the best startups from our portfolio that we work are those that really push us to do so and look for us and make us questions. So basically saying that we are an open book of what we've seen of the partners' experience side. We like to give our point of view, and that doesn't mean they need to execute as we say. It's just our point of view, but we like to help as much as we can.
I think the key for the companies that get the most out of working with us is that they're proactive. They reach out, they push us with questions, and it's not that we don't want to be proactive ourselves. It's just that with a big portfolio and lots going on, it's hard for us to be really proactive with everybody. But basically, we are going to respond, and many times really quickly, if we get reached out with an email or a specific question.
As you mentioned, we have more than, 100 startups in the 3 different funds we have right now. So we also like to make those connections, taking advantage of the network we've built, not only founder to founder, but also founder with LPs, and that can really open different doors for portfolio companies. So I think, that's something we can help a lot, and we've been doing so.
So we get a lot of people that reach out and want to work with us on the investment team, and basically they'd be working with you. Tell us a little bit about the day-to-day of the job, but then also how you thought about coming in and working for the team, and like what kind of we look for somebody that might be joining in the future.
At the start, I was really kind of afraid that I hadn't that much knowledge about the industry. But I would say just keep calm and the knowledge will come, basically. The team is really open to, as I said at the beginning, shorten those feedback loops to help you understand different topics, different steps of the investment side. So that's one. You don't have to be an expert in the startup industry. Just be like hungry of learning, and will help a lot. Also be proactive to, I don't know, you have your own responsibilities, and you are, as the word says, responsible to get things done. No one is going to be like behind you trying to help you get things done. It's just like your work, and if you have any questions, you can. We are always gonna help, but being proactive, and I think that's basically what we will be looking for in someone. And my day to day, I think, is really exciting, getting to talk to different people. I don't know, in a month we can talk to, I don't know, more than 30 companies or more. Different backgrounds, different business models. you also get to understand and different trends on what's happening globally and also in Latam. How are things getting to our region basically. So yeah, I think that's the most exciting thing of getting to talk to different people. And yeah, it's always interesting to see different motivations, different backgrounds, and different stories.
Yeah, and in terms of how we think about hiring, especially for the analyst role, we're looking for smart people who are interested in startups. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have a ton of experience. Like in your case, you maybe had a year of being really getting deep into the startup experience, but you were interested in it. And you ended up, I think, beating out, I think you were like 100 people applied for the job. So you ended up basically showing that, hey, I'm really interested in this. I'm smart. And I think one thing that I would add in terms of, you said, hey, I was maybe a little scared to apply at the beginning or scared to jump in, especially for women in LATAM, just apply. We're not looking for a crazy resume. We're looking for smart people with at least an understanding of what's going on in the ecosystem. That could be working in a startup. It could have been starting a startup. It could be working in a company that's related to startups, whatever it is. And generally, I would say men apply with way fewer qualifications than women do. So don't be afraid to apply. We'll definitely take a look. So I know it's only been 8 months or 9 months or so, but if you could go back to when you first started in Magma, knowing everything you know today, what's some advice you would give yourself?
Well, that's a big one. I would say, yeah, basically to going back to the point I just mentioned, just like keep calm. Don't try to learn everything about startups in 2 weeks, but also trust your knowledge and your learning process, because sometimes we underestimate how we learn and how we figure things out. But yeah, with your team, basically the team will have your back. Um, so yeah, trust your knowledge and enjoy the process, basically.
What's your one or two favorite things about working in Magma?
Okay, so the first one I will say it's having those daily conversations with founders, even from the portfolio or even those that we don't get to invest, that those first calls we make, or even those questions we send to different companies we get. I think I try to learn at least one thing from every interaction with founders. And the other one I would say is building your own network. This is a great industry with lots of collaboration between funds, between startups. So yeah, I've enjoyed a lot, like having those spaces. For example, at our Magma Summit, where we met most of the companies we had invested during the pandemic or before, and yeah, also most of our LPs. So yeah, trying to build your own network, not only in the country you're based. I'm from Colombia, but I try to make those connections outside Colombia, and yeah, try to take advantage of the diverse industry we have, different types of companies, different countries. So yeah, building your network and powerful conversations.
Do you have any books, blogs, podcasts that either helped you learn about startups or just that you like about life in general?
Actually, I'm a big fan of Crossing Borders.
You didn't have to say it.
So yeah, for me, it's an honor being here with you. I think it's great having a podcast about LATAM startups in English. It helps a lot. Also, LATAM List it's a great blog, also in the same direction. Um, having different news about Latin American startups and the ecosystem in English that help us put our industry in the eye of, I don't know, global VCs, global startups. So yeah, I think that it's great. And the book, right now I'm reading The Startup Nation, because I'm doing a course of innovation based on the Israeli method. So yeah, I would recommend it. I might be biased right now, but I think there are some lessons we can learn from the ecosystem there. They are called the Startup Nation for some reason, and I think we can try to learn as much as we can and try to adapt some things to our reality.
Well, Laura, thanks for sharing your story. It's been great working with you for the past bunch of months, and great to see you again in person. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.